Let's talk about Jesus, the question. It has been my observation that people don't really question the importance or the relevance of Jesus as a person. Rather, they question Christianity as an organization, and those of us as Christians who bear and are supposed to represent his name. Jesus, the healer, Jesus, the teacher, Jesus, the example of empowered humanity and beautiful spirituality, is appealing even to the most skeptic of people. Jesus represents all that we can be, all that we secretly desire to be as human beings. And in our reaction to him, we see the best of ourselves and we see the worst of ourselves. Look at the people who meet Jesus in the Gospels, and you will see the examples of people who have their expectations met beyond their wildest dreams, and people who are just disappointed beyond despair. Why? Because to meet Jesus, to be finally confronted with his life in our reality, is to be forever non-neutral about who we are. Once we've met him, there is no spiritual Switzerland that we can retreat to in this spiritual warfare that rages all around us and wait it out until we see what happens. Jesus did not come as an answer to the human question. Jesus came as the answer to the human question. The question of who we are and why we are and what life truly means all came into play, all became really apparent when Adam and Eve were first asked that question, where are you? The human condition has been a continual quest to find our way back into the light and out of the darkness. And away from that continual answer, I'm hiding because I was afraid. We are continually striving to find and hold on to and display an image greater than one of fear, one of hiding, one of separation, one of self-preservation. The question of who we are and why we are and what it means to be fully and beautifully human is answered in the life and in the person of Jesus Christ. Jesus has become the doorway. He has become our doorway back into the reality of who we are in God and who God has created us to be. To see sin as our greatest enemy and not each other. To see each other as victims and slaves to sin is to understand the difference that Jesus came to make to the human condition. To understand that at its very core, the purpose of religion is to be a reflection and a pathway to God and not God itself. Is to understand and appreciate that Jesus was willing and able and always worked with who we are. To be born into the human bloodline and to come as a part of the creation you created is to understand Jesus not only as a creator God, but to understand him as a parent God. To see in the oppression of the poor, the oppression of the most valued in society. To see Jesus touch the diseased and untouchable in society. Showed us that Jesus came to be the antithesis of what it means to be indifferent to human suffering. Jesus is not a change agent. Jesus is change. Jesus is not a shift in the culture. Jesus is a whole new culture and paradigm within the culture. Jesus isn't a reflection or an idea of who we could be. Jesus is the reality of who we now are. So the question then is, how do we marry the Jesus that we see in the Gospels with the Jesus that we see played out today in our religious institutions and even in our politics? The answer is we don't. We cannot marry them, and neither should we. The Jesus that we see in the Gospels, the Jesus that we read in the Gospels, is the Jesus that we all need to get back to. And we don't need to wear sandals in order to do it either. Humanity is once again crying out for this Jesus, the Jesus that they once saw, and they've been looking for a long time. The Jesus who redefined the value of life, the Jesus who redefined the value for life, Jesus who redefined the human dignity of people, Jesus who understood that a person's worth can only be affirmed when you are willing and you desire to reach into that space where that person hurts the most. We see that Jesus displayed today in the heroes who wear surgical masks, in essential workers, the people who are putting themselves on and their lives on the line, the people who are letting people know that your life has worth and has dignity, and that we are with you in this struggle, that we are in this space on the front line with you. We can be that Jesus. We can be that Jesus on the phone. We can be that Jesus in a text. We can be that Jesus across the fence. We can be that Jesus in making sure people need help. We can be that Jesus on the phone and sending food for somebody, just sending help for somebody who may need that help at this vulnerable time that we find ourselves in. May today be the day that the question and the answer of Jesus become a reflection in our lives. And may today be the day that people find through our lives their pathway back to him.